It's me, Passport Bro Visuals. Back at it with another one. And I want to talk about something a little bit more important. This is about...
Turn right onto West 79th Street. Then at the next stop sign, you'll turn right.
I was looking at the man mindset, and I was listening to the dating coaches and all that, and listening about this here game, and I just wanted to say that when it comes to this game, versus like the whole red pill content and Passport Bros.
At the stop sign, turn right onto Great Plains Boulevard. Then at the next light, you'll turn left.
When it comes to this game, it's just I'm a fan of O'Shea.
At the light, turn left onto Arboretum Boulevard.
I'm a fan of O'Shea, but I think O'Shea, I think he's part of the problem when it comes to like the red pill content. I do think he's a grifter personally, but I think what I wanted to say was I think that when it comes to this game, a lot of the game is the game is really internal, and it's easy to trick and be a trick, somewhere else in a foreign country and all that. It's real easy to do, but that's not really the way. So, and when you're going overseas and you essentially doing what he's doing as a trick.
Take your next left onto Lake Drive East. Turn left onto Lake Drive East.
Yeah, so when you're out there tricking like what he's doing, when it comes to the game, like he was saying with that situation he had years ago, he bought the girl some food or something, and the guy answered the door, like a pookie or whatever. He was...
At the next light, turn right.
he pretty much just gave the food, whatever, left,
At the light, turn right onto Arboretum Boulevard.
The girl was using him. But when it comes to, what he's doing and stuff, a lot of the game is internal, And because the game, a lot of it is internal, you have to do what you have to do to develop yourself. And you're running from it, what I'm saying, when you're out there tricking, Pretty much running from the development in yourself as a person, as a man, what I'm saying? But the point is that the main topic is that, men shouldn't be ruled by sex. And O'Shea, from what he showed over the years, on YouTube, at least what he portrays, he's a man he's ruled by sex, And a lot of tricks, all tricks I would say is ruled by sex, But the men who are the dating coaches, actual game coaches, things like that, those guys aren't really, they're not ruled by sex. They rule sex. And what that means is not so much they getting sex a lot, they ruled by it in the sense that they're not controlled by it. Those guys are not controlled by sex, and that's the problem with the red pill, space and content. A lot of these guys are just ruled by sex. Just, get the sex from the hot girl. It's not going to change you. What I'm saying? It's not going to put more bass in your voice. It's not going to make you walk with a pimp step, pimp walk or whatever. It's not going to just mystically change you into like James Bond or something. Like you still are who you are, And that's what women love about the men that they want. discussed and talked about. If there's tricking, it's not going to fix it. To me, it's akin to jacking off. You know what I'm saying? You jack off and roll over, fall asleep. You know what I'm saying? That's all you're doing when it comes to tricking. What you're doing is you're buying her time to get her to, like you.
In half a mile, use any lane to take the ramp to US 212 East.
But, for like 2 hours, you have her under my attention, you pay for the date and all that sort of stuff. Then you're using that to convince her to, to like it. Just versus like a organic way where the guy is out there talking to a girl or whatever. Got some chemistry, got some things in common, and try to...
Use any lane to take the ramp to US 212 East.
Yeah, they kind of build from there, And that's really what's happening when it comes to being a trick or whatever. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. There's no development. There's pretty much no development as yourself and as a person. That's why I think I would say it's a grifter. And this type of content resonates with a lot of people. So, and I think that's what's messing up, a lot of the game and stuff. What pulls men to the Password Bros or to the Red Pill as much as it does. It's a so-called quick fix.
In half a mile, take the I-494 East, Minnesota 5 East exit. Take the I-494 East exit. Then you'll take the ramp to I-494 East, Minnesota 5 East.
So you have to, like I said, you just have to,
Take the ramp to I-494 East.
Improve and turn. So, what I'm saying? So we look at the situation right now with the...
Continue on I-494 East for 9 miles.
We look at the situation right now with the Passport Bros. And it's not the ideal situation it wanted to be in. But because of the situation with Floyd and the whole nation of the guys when they exploded, what he was trying to do, all he was trying to do, is just build up their channel, get enough views and build up their channel and essentially live overseas. That was the goal, pretty much. That's what they pretty much did. But they didn't care about anything as far as vetting the person or anything. So now the situation with Floyd happened, the whole space looks bad. Essentially, the whole space looks pretty bad. And that's just kind of the situation that it's in. Like I said, you can sleep with how many women you want to sleep with, but that's not really helping you develop internal for yourself to get the women you want, to like, what I'm saying? And guys like Floyd, Austin, Kid Greatness, especially Floyd, he's the extreme case. Guys like him, always got picked on by the females and stuff like that, and they took that and they internalized that type of, those feelings, and what they did was they took those few women, we should just drop in a bucket. They took those few women, and what they said about him, the mayor said about him, they took that and he applied it to all other women, especially like when it comes to black women. But he used that to help him cope with what they said. You know what I'm saying? Because he believed the flaws of himself. You know what I'm saying? He projected that on, okay, if they said this, all of them do this. And this would hold guys like him back because he's not trying to, develop. Because he went too far deep. himself. And because of that, that's why Floyd, is accused of what he's accused of. A lot of those people, they have problems. They have the problems that they're not fixing on the inside of the person. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the problem is with Floyd. And I would say the same with Austin, same with Kid Ricketts. I would say Jay Rilla, he's kind of the exception, but he's just really a whoremonger at this point. But like I said, this type of thing, the red pill and the pastor bills, it just resonates a lot with a lot of disenfranchised young men. You know what I'm saying? And it just resonates a lot, and it's just easier for these guys to try to do this, but it's actually destroying them because they're actually against. They may hate the situation they're in, they may hate the game, but a part of them still wants, to be of the game or learn the game because it's more something natural to them. So when I listen to like the dating coaches and all that, that feels more natural and genuine to me versus the red pill. Somebody like O'Shea Duke Jackson, he talks in a very everything he talks about is really surface level, especially when it comes to the game. As far as so-called games that he knows, it's just very surface level. So for him to take on a young dude like, Austin Howland and see him as like the face of the Password Bros, that says a lot about him. About O'Shea. So, that's where a lot of these problems come in. But a lot of the stuff is just easier. But at the same time, as men, we still yearn to try and strive and to do better. Be better internally. And once you fix that internally, you can be comfortable with who you are, the man who you are, what you want to develop. They will come. Those women will come. And even those that you may have had interest in, you know what I'm saying? But what the problem with the red pill is that they don't want to compete because they just simply don't want to compete with other men because they feel like that's less of a chance, which is actually increasing your chances if you actually develop like you're supposed to you actually try to develop, And like I said, a lot of this stuff is just easy. It's just an easy way out, and it doesn't really help men in general. I know there's a lot of problems and stuff, but it's just easier if you actually do what you gotta do to actually improve yourself and work on yourself internally, figure out who you are, know who you are, and you have to allow yourself to be comfortable, allow yourself to be who you are, and defend that, and develop that and defend that, to the end of days. A lot of guys just don't want to, they just need to allow themselves, for themselves to be that guy as far as who they are for themselves and develop it, and develop that confidence. Allow yourself to be confident, allow yourself to be confident. And, that's where it kind of leans into, and a lot of guys just ain't there yet, you know what I'm saying? A lot of guys ain't there yet. And like I said, you just have to allow yourself to be confident, and I think the red pill space, in a sense, especially with the pastor bill, it's just kind of an scapegoat. It may have not originally been the purpose of that, and I agree with Steve from the man mindset, but at the same time, that's what it morphed into. You know what I'm saying? Even Kevin Samuels, even though he did seem to change his mind towards the end of his life, he disagreed with it from the beginning for a while. Then he kind of softened his opinion on it, but the point was he still had a negative aspect in the beginning of it because you are just,
In 2 miles, use the right lane to take exit 2C for Minnesota 77 South.
You are just skipping steps and trying to take the easy way out. And that's why I think O'Shea is a drifter in that way because, like I said, he's got his so-called success. He's living in a third world developed nation where he can get away with the tricking. Girls can't really, exercise the option to not deal with a guy like him. You know what I'm saying? And they just have to deal with it. So to say that he's winning and then try to hide behind this surface level way of improving, it's not really working. As like I said, you can improve yourself internally like you're supposed to, but you can still learn these languages, as well. And then you go overseas and you can still get this game over here. You can still use the game over there too. But it's not helping to bypass certain steps that will benefit you as a person internally. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a big problem with the real appeal space. Like I said, like I said, much as you don't like the game and all that sort of stuff, there's still a part of you that still strives for this game. You know what I'm saying? To actually improve and develop and all that sort of stuff. For yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a part of you that resonates with it. Despite how mentally far away you are from it, there's a part that still resonates strongly with it. When I did my comparison listening to...
In half a mile, use the right lane to take exit 2C for Minnesota 77 South.
The game coaches versus the real deal stuff, it just resonated a lot. It resonated a lot more and a lot better. And it seems a bit more genuine and authentic, And that's why I would also say, that's why O'Shea doesn't do any live streams. As he does live streams, but he doesn't do like debates or anything. He may say...
Use the right lane to take exit 2C.
He may say it's because, people may say this, that, and the third, but it's really the fact that his argument will be debunked rather quick. And, and when it's debunked rather quickly, if he has no argument, that's why if he does...
In half a mile, use the right lane to take the Minnesota 77 South ramp.
If he talks in debates, it's only people who have a like-minded way of thinking, you know what I'm saying? And that's why he's lasted as long as I think as he has. But the same percentage thing was definitely something that he had to leave alone, whether that stuff was, true or not, right or wrong, it definitely messed him up.
Use the right lane to take the Minnesota 77 South ramp.
He definitely took a hit on that, you know what I'm saying? But like I say, a lot of people don't agree necessarily with his way of thinking. And I just think that this sort of thing, whether he was genuine or not, I just think that it didn't really help a lot of people. That's why he so-called left the space back then, because it was venting. It was just nothing but venting. Like I said, a lot of these men feel like they haven't had a real say in the last 50 years or 60 years now, since feminism came full force. Yeah, I would agree. You know what I'm saying? Because if you trap, trying to rock in a hard place, but if you say something in a rebuttal, it's just automatic sexism. So I do understand that's a problem in the game. Because the game itself, would know that. So, but yeah, that's what that is right there. So I just feel like, hey man, you gotta, you gotta take the good with the bad, but you gotta not use that excuse either to not grow and develop. That's why I don't think he was ever a doctor. You don't really look that in shape at all. You're not really in shape, That's what I'm saying about that Griffin, and believing in what he's talking about. And you're not really developing yourself. That's why I can't really respect O'Shea and what he has done, for the space, because it's not really helping the men per se in the long run. If a guy, he missed out on a girl.
In 2 miles, take exit 4 for County Road 30, Diffley Road.
Yeah, and all of them, all of it was kind of like his missed opportunity on his part. It goes both ways, but at the same time, that yearning for it, part of him wants to, do right. Be better so he can try to, make it work on one of those three or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Right. But that yearning for that development, and that yearning for that, it's based off your development. It's your yearning for development. You just have to fight and improve for it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys, it's just taking the easy way out. And that's why I had to, push back on a lot of the red pill content, especially from O'Shea and some of the password girl stuff, It's just in a bad spot right now, and it's only going to get worse. I see Austin look, he's being investigated. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, he's a young guy. Okay, being overseas, living overseas, or whatever, but you have to work for it. You have to add value to the marketplace. We don't really add value to the marketplace. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Just getting money off of donations and stuff like that. Mentally, I can't do that. So. But yeah, that's my thoughts on all that right there. And
In half a mile, take exit 4 for County Road 30, Diffley Road.
yeah, that's my thoughts on this. And, yeah, I'm gonna catch you guys on next one. Peace.